On.
Let me check.
Check that out. Good morning, folks. All right, I think we're pretty much live. I've got a good friend with me today, fellow harmonica player. We're going to chat a little bit. Let's just give us a second here. We're finishing a couple things real quick, so just one moment. But I'm excited to talk with you, Kiersi. I put Kiri on. Well, that's good. That's what I put as your name, Kiri, on the title. Let me see if I can adjust that while we're talking. So if you're just tuning in, again, I'm here with my good friend Kiersi, not Kirion, and we're just going to talk today and just kind of hang out. I'm going to give you a chance to get to know Kiersi a little better. I've got some questions. Here we go. I can change it right now. There we go. That should change it for the next group of folks that log in. So good morning to everybody. Kiersi, good morning to you. How are you
Good
feeling?
morning. Yeah, I'm feeling good. And don't
Good.
worry about the name misspell. Autocorrect does it all the time whenever I'm spelling out my name.
It makes me look pretty bad on a daily basis, I'll tell you that. But I've grown to accept it. There it is. I just refreshed my page and now it says Kiersi. So let me just start by saying that Kiersi and I met at a spa event, which is the Society and Preservation for the Advancement of the Harmonica. They do conventions once a year, and I want to say you were probably 7 or 8 years
I
old.
was I was probably 8,
Yeah,
maybe
eight.
7. Yeah.
You were little itty bitty. So just to let you guys know, that was 10 years ago. So yeah, that was quite a while ago. And I remember, just to let folks know from my perspective, that when we met, my first impression of you and your playing was here. This is exciting because I don't even meet people this age that pick up a harmonica and like actually try to play it. You sounded at that, and people are going to think I'm BSing, and I'm not. But like at 8 years old, you had a better tone and kind of attack on the harmonica, control of bends than the average player around you at this convention. That's the truth. And so I was like, dang. And then we've kept in touch over the years and sort of hung out. You've taken some classes. We've done a few informal kind of lessons together over the years. And it's just been really cool to watch your trajectory as a musician. And I want to take a minute to get to know you better through this live stream. So let's start from the spa convention. Tell us a little bit about your perspective. Now, you've been there how many times over the years to spa?
Um, I want to say every year since I was 7 except for COVID year.
Except for COVID. So that's pretty much hitting it regularly. What has that done for you, and what were your experiences like? Especially to be interesting to hear this based on how young you were at that time. It must have been kind of overwhelming with your first year or two. Like, how was that?
Well, I'd say the first time I ever walked into spa, I was absolutely in amazement. Uh,
Yeah.
because I just picked up the harmonica. I barely knew what it was. So I
Yeah.
was just I was just playing it because I'd been taught a little bit of how to play it, but I really had no clue exactly what it was. So I walked in and to see all the different harmonicas and people playing them literally everywhere you look.
Yeah. It was over.
Um,
Yeah.
I was just like awestruck the entire time.
Uh,
And my parents were right there with me too. They were like, "This is incredible."
how did you actually get into harmonica playing? What made you pick it up?
Yeah. So when I was 3, I got a little piano. Me and my sister got a piano for Christmas, and I had been playing it, did some church recitals, whatever. And then when I was 6 for Christmas, Santa had given me a little set of harmonicas, and I had no clue what they were. I had heard it
Yeah.
like on country music a little bit, but I had never like actually known what it was called or what it looked like. So I opened it and I literally asked my mom, I was like, "What is it?" And she was like, "Well, it's a harmonica. You blow and draw air to make music." And so I tried it and I was hooked basically from that little first moment playing it. And after that, I had begged my mom for like 6 months to find me a harmonica teacher. And we finally found one in Mexico, Missouri. Because we lived in Missouri at the time, so we were in a small town. So all I
Right.
knew was basically country music and just a little bit of rock from my parents listening to it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so we found a teacher in Mexico, Missouri. We went to him for a couple of lessons, and he told my parents after a few lessons, he was like, she's doing things that people twice her age haven't been able to do for years.
Yep.
He was like, she needs someone more professional.
Yeah.
And my mom literally thought to herself, she was like, where are we gonna find someone more professional? We barely found this guy.
Right. Right.
So it just so happened that spa that year was in St. Louis. And so we decided we were going to go for a day, see how it was, everything like that. So we went and like we were awestruck. Everybody was just in amazement of all the different harmonicas everywhere, just people playing, people having fun with it.
Yeah.
So we walked around and they had just set up like open mic.
Okay.
And I asked my mom, I was like, can I go up and play? She's like, I mean, we're not really members, but I guess if no one else is playing.
You were
So
brave. You were so brave.
at 6 years old, I went up to the microphone, and there weren't many people around. There were a few, but not many. I went up and I played Little Liza Jane. I had played Little Liza Jane on harmonica, then I sang a little verse, and then I played it really fast to show off. Um,
Right. So, do you remember? Was this like this is like either 2016 or 15? This would have been like, and I've been doing stuff in the background because I got a surprise I want to share with everybody and you. That's why I've been looking distracted. Do you want to see it real quick? I'd
sure.
like to. Boom! Look at that.
Oh,
That was 2016. Now,
that was
that
2016.
might have been
Wow.
the year we met. That might have been the year we met, or the year before. But look at this picture. That's so cool. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Um,
That
so
was
you,
back when I looked good in a headband.
hey, I to feed off of what you're saying is like that's what I recall is that like you were not shy and you were willing to play. You could bend notes at that age, which I was like, how is she? And you sounded great. You got a harp on you, right? I'm assuming you've
Yeah,
got a
yeah.
harmonica. By the way, we should just. I want to segue into something different, which is to say that Kiersi has developed over the years into a more of, I would say, the singer songwriter slash. What would you? I wouldn't say you're pigeonholed into just being a singer songwriter. A musician that now plays guitar. She sings. You write your own music. That's a singer songwriter in my book. But at what point did you transition to like just being like a harmonica player to saying, I want to play the guitar, I want to try to write, I want to sing? When did that happen?
Yeah, so I would say, so I was 2018, 2017, somewhere in there. My parents had started talking about moving to Tennessee. Um, Missouri didn't have a lot of like music options for me to go out and play just harmonica. 'Cause at that point, I was playing harmonica to backing tracks. I had songs that I'd plug into the little aux cord, and then I'd play harmonica with it.
Yeah.
And there weren't really many options to do that in Missouri. And so they had started talking about moving, I want to say 2017. And then my sister, Brianna, she's my second oldest sister, she found out that her and her husband were going to be moving either to Kentucky or Tennessee. And my mom was like, oh, what a coincidence. We've been talking about moving to Tennessee.
Right.
And so it was just this kind of thing that God had set in motion from a while back. And I think my sister's husband had gotten a job in Tennessee, and we were like, perfect. We've been looking to move to Tennessee. I think this is God telling us that this is where we need to be. So 2019, came around and um, we had a little house that we were going to rent, and we were packing everything. We were getting ready to move, and my mom got a call from the guy we were renting from, and he was like, "I'm so sorry to do this to you, but a couple of Amish farmers had come and asked for their farm hands to stay in this house for $1,000 over my asking price."
Uh,
And so he basically kicked us out after we already had all the paperwork before we were even living there. And so in a whim, we bought a camper and we just made the move to Tennessee. Um, my mom had basically thought it was just going to be like a 2 week, maybe a month at most kind of thing with the camper, and it
right.
turned into 2 years. Um, Gosh, I forgot what the question was there for a
How
second.
did you start playing guitar? How did you transition to like getting into guitar playing?
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, taking a step backwards. Um, During the process of we were moving, I had some mixed emotions about moving. And so even before I got into guitar, I had my harmonica teacher, Sandy Weltman, who I'd been playing with for years. I had met, I had heard of him through spa, but I didn't meet him at the first spa I was at because he wasn't there, at least
Right.
the day I was there. Um, or like we never ran into each other. Um, and so I had been taking lessons with him for a couple of months, and he gifted me a ukulele for my birthday one year.
Ah, the ukulele started the
Hmm.
fire. That's where
Yep.
this is going.
So I had played ukulele for a little bit, and there was one point where my mom was like, "Hey, you should try to do like ukulele and harmonica together." And so I had this like little cheap rack that you would buy in like any of the music stores, you know?
Right.
And so I put it on and I was just like trying to figure it out. And finally I think it was Little Liza Jane, I was able to play it on ukulele while I was playing it on harmonica. And I remember I was sitting on our piano bench and I was just started playing it, and my mom and dad were in their other room, and they literally stopped talking. They turn around and they're like, "How did you do that?"
You figured it out like you figured out the harmonica is what you did.
Yeah. They were literally, their eyes went big, their jaws were dropped, and they turned around. They were like, "How did you do that?" It's like, "I don't know. I just did it."
Yeah, you did. I mean, and what's cool is like now you're playing guitar, you're writing songs. Last time I saw you at Spa 2 years ago, maybe,
Hmm.
or I think, right? I mean, I saw you physically. It wasn't last year; it was the year before. Anyway, you were sharing with me more about that. You're really focused on the singing, and now since all of this, you have been recording just to fast track a little bit, and you've gotten some serious accolades in the music industry and recognition, which is really exciting to see. And I've seen you be active with some of the youth events. What was the recent youth event that you were a part of?
Let's see. So in January, I was the youth delegate for the Memphis
That's what.
Blues Association.
Right.
And I got to go to Memphis and perform at the IBC's, the International Blues Competition. But some people get really confused about whether the youth is a competition in itself. But the youth isn't a competition. It's basically like a showcase that
Right. Right.
different youths from different states or cities or whatever kind of come down and they perform to show off that youth's talent, but it's not a competition between those different youths.
Got you. Do you have? By the way, do you have you have a harmonica on you? Don't you?
Always.
Let's hear. Maybe we should have started kicking this thing off, but I know I'm kind of like I'm all over the place today. But like, when somebody says to you, this is before you play anything, I guess you'll show us. But when somebody says, "Hey, play something," do you think of melody first, or you just kind of think of blues licks or jamming or groove? What comes to mind?
Usually there's one song that I always play whenever I'm asked, like, "Hey, can you play a little something?" And it's an original that Sandy had wrote for me and basically composed for me, called Darker Than Blue. And I've been playing it since probably 8 is when he made it for me. Um, and so every time like someone would ask me, because it's just a 12 bar blues, just with the
Instrumental.
melody, yeah, just with the melody on harmonica.
Okay.
Um, but sometimes when someone wants me to just play like a little ditty, I just go for like a jam kind of thing, and I'll just kind of riff on the harmonica a little bit.
Maybe it depends on the circumstance. I guess if somebody's walking by you, it says in a music store, it's a riff versus like at a spa event. Maybe you take your time and actually play something or
Yeah.
like, well, play us anything you want. We would love to just
All
hear
right.
what let people hear what you sound like.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can you hear
wait.
that?
No. Did you click it up top too? The little toggle switch on off or you're young. You should
Usually
be
it's
able to.
always on.
Is it say on?
It's not there. I might have to go.
Oh, are you on an iPad?
I'm on an iPhone.
You have to turn it on before. Well, go into more before you like. We lose this opportunity. If you go into more, like or three dots, and if it's not there and you can't turn it on, it's because you have to turn it on before you log in. I should have warned you that on an iPhone and iPad.
Well, it's usually always
Always there.
there for me whenever I do it, but maybe there we go. I got it. We're good.
Hey, the young people got it all figured out. It's us old geezers that can't figure it out.
Cool.
Yeah, bravo. Nice. That sounds great. That's what's up. For all of the guys listening, there's a lot of spectacular women, female harmonica players out there, and I think guys think it's like just a boys' club, which it primarily is, I suppose. But Kiersi, you got it. Like, and what's cool is that I remember you playing at 8 years old, and you couldn't play what you just did there, but
Yeah.
you had the sound. You had the sound. So how did where do I start with this? So like, are you a pucker player, or have you started bringing in tongue blocking more and more? Where are you at with that?
Yeah, I'm mostly a pucker player, but I have recently started to bring like a lot of tongue blocking and stuff into it. I really like doing like the octaves, kind of thing, especially on the higher end, so like the 8 and 4. I like doing that every now and then.
Nice. 8 and 4. That's a big one. That's that big octave. 8/4
Yeah.
draw. Yeah. So you're using the octaves, which is really nice because it fills out the sound. Do you ever find yourself playing a single note, or is that something that you think is not happening as much now, like a single slap note, like one of these kind of that kind of stuff?
I don't do that much, no.
But here's the cool thing: your pucker playing sounds big and full. It doesn't lack anything. And this is a good lesson for people that are playing pucker that maybe have been talking to like 100% tongue block players, which I am not. That they're like, you got to do it, you got to do it, you got to just switch, and it's like, no, you don't. You
Yeah.
could. I think the key is that you're using some of it to your advantage. And so you're a great example of somebody who just gets a really good sound out of puckering a note. And that's because you're cognizant of creating this nice resonant chamber. You're not squelching or squishing the sound. You're relaxed. So you did some cool things on that little jam there. You got some good use of these dirty notes. I love that. Those kind of lines are really, the attack just sounds great.
Yeah.
You have any tips before we get off of the harmonica thing? And by the way, so before I forget, I know I keep switching, but like, are you primarily a rack player now, or do you think you're kind of still sitting in and jamming equally as much and playing harmonica as a harp player as much as you are in a rack with your guitar accompanying?
I'd say it's about equal right now. I would say a few years ago, it was primarily like just harmonica, but it's become a little more equal of being able to hold down like playing a 12 bar on the guitar while being able to just kind of riff on harmonica,
Yeah.
or in like a jam, being able to maybe play a little bit of a fill on guitar and then response it with a
Yeah.
harmonica lick or
You
something.
did. There's a video of you, and I'll tag your websites and all this stuff in the video description, everybody. So check it out. There's a video of you trading licks with somebody in the last year on a stage. Maybe it was a horn player. Do you remember this? There's a
Oh
cool
yeah, yeah,
video,
yeah.
and you were killing it. That was so cool to hear, like the back and forth stuff. It just proves that, like, it's nice to see somebody who starts in harmonica and then develops and starts doing other instruments or over other focal points like singing and writing, but like you can hold your own on a stage, which is really cool. Like you just have a lot of bravery. Where does your confidence and bravery come from, you think?
That's a hard question. 'Cause I feel like it's it's just kind of always been there. And there are times when I'm a little more like taken back, like I'm a little more sit back kind of thing. Um, but when it comes to like being on a stage and everything, I've never really gotten nervous about like getting up on a stage and playing in front of people. But it's definitely a God-given thing because like I've never felt any kind of really hesitation when it came to playing harmonica or like playing for others.
That's so cool. I think it's one of the most important things as a player is to let yourself be vulnerable, and you always had it in you. I can vouch for that. Like Kiersi, you definitely always had that enthusiasm more than fear. It was never like hesitation. Like if somebody said, play me something, you just play. And that is the thing I think gets in the way for most harmonica players that are developing is this fear of what will I sound like? What if I make a mistake? Or will somebody be judging me or comparing me and I'm playing in front of this person who I think is better? Or there's a million things that go through our heads. And when you don't do that, you allow yourself to progress much more quickly. Right? Because
Yeah.
you're not caught up on the maybe I shouldn't. You're focused on, well, what if? Like, let's
hmm
try this. It's exciting. So I really appreciate you taking time to chat about some of this today. What what are some of your main websites that I'll link them, but like where would you, if people say, I want to hear more about Kiersi as both a harmonica player and an artist, where do they go?
Yeah. I would say the main page you can check out is my Instagram,
Okay.
in the key of Kiersey, which that story has been with me since I was about 7 or 8 of how that came about. But yeah, you can check out in the key of Kiersey on my Instagram, or my Facebook if you don't have Instagram. I'm also I've got a couple songs that are released, so if you want to go on Spotify or YouTube or wherever you listen to stuff, I've got some songs you can listen to there as well.
Beautiful. Hey, before we go today, you want to be spontaneous and have a little riff exchange with me? You don't have to
Sure,
play what
I would
I
love
play.
to.
You just play whatever you want. I don't expect you to copy anything I do. I got the B flat in my hand. Does that
All
work?
right, cool. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna play a little bit. I'm gonna pause. You're gonna play a little bit. I'm gonna pause. We'll go back and forth a little bit. I'm not gonna try to beat any of that or go or follow that. That was killer. You guys, check out Kiersi's pages. Be on the lookout. Watch your back. She's coming for you. If you see her show up at the gym, yeah, you could be a little nervous, I think. So, and are you? Last thing I want to ask today is like, where? So, are you booking regular gigs?
Yeah,
Is this
yeah.
and are they in and
Um,
around where you are? Or are you still traveling a lot? Are you going to be at Spa this year? All these questions are still in my head.
well, so first things first, I won't be at spa this year.
Oh, that's right. You did tell me that.
I'm starting college in the fall, so I will be moving in like right around when spa will be. So unfortunately, I will not be at spa this year for like the
Okay.
first time in years. But yeah, I do a lot of gigs locally. I play in and around Nashville every now and then, and probably about like twice a month at least. I'm in and around Nashville.
Right.
I've got a gig coming up this weekend in Leapers Fork for a Leapers Fork distillery that I'm playing a 3-hour set for. And then I also do like summer festivals and everything. So, and I've got a band who I bring down with me sometimes depending on everything. And but I do a lot of summer festivals. I've got one that I'm going to this year in Florida in October, where I won the Jim Pasquale Rising Star Award. Um, I'm going back down there this year again to play, and so yeah,
Awesome. That's so cool. You guys, I just want to say before I leave and before we disconnect today here from the live stream, it has been my honor so far to be a part of your journey, just a part of it. And it's like, I'm so proud to see where you have taken your music in general, all of it, not just the harmonica playing. It's just so cool to be able to be a part of it and to witness it. And I hope that we still stay connected for many more years. Don't forget me when you're a big star, would you? Just
never,
remember your
never.
buddy Ronnie. Okay. I
Yeah,
hope.
thank you so much for having me on here today. Like, I wouldn't be where I am without you or any of the teachers that I've had in the past, Sandy Weltman, Todd
Todd.
Parrott.
Todd,
Yep.
yep, he was a big part of it. Well, we
Hmm.
all, I know I speak for all of us when we say we're just thrilled to have been a part of it and still hopefully will be a part of that journey. And I was just telling my buddy Shane today, we were talking on the phone, and I said, it's remarkable that our community, like if you guys attend the spa event, you'll see, but our community is so vibrant, and the people within the community are some of the most gracious, kind-hearted people that you will. Am I right? I mean, I'm not
Oh yeah.
just
Hmm.
hamming it up. Like, it's remarkable when you get to know, and I'm talking about the players in the scene, the real players. Like, everyone's just down to earth. There's no ego, and it's just if there is, it's random and it's really rare, and it's just so
Yeah.
cool to be a part of that. So on that note, I see Shane is in here. There's Shane's in here. Jawan, Steve, thanks for joining live, and some other people that are tuned in. We appreciate you. I also want to make a quick mention, and maybe you'll be able to catch it, Kiersi, too, is that on Tuesday the 24th, which is the Tuesday coming up, the president of SPA is going to be joining me on a live stream, Jerry Deal, and we're going to be talking about what the details of what people can expect, etc., and what it's all about.
Yeah, awesome.
All right. You have a fantastic rest of your day, and thanks for joining. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right. Y'all make it a good one. We'll see you next time.